Good morning world from Siargao Island. So recently the Philippines won an award. It was the best cruise destination in Asia. There was a cruise awards ceremony in Dubai in October 2023 and the Philippines brought home the award. So now that the Philippines has been named Asia's best cruise destination, we thought we would come down to the cruise port that they are building here on our little island of Siargao, just to see the progress and see what was happening down here, because we have heard about this port being built for a while now, but we've never been in this direction. So the road leading to it, off of the main road towards Dapa, this is a brand new road, but it does still look like it's under construction. The drive to the port took 5 minutes off of the main road, but halfway down the road it kind of turned into mud and one side isn't completed, so there's still a lot of construction to be finished. We arrived at the port and it is still very much a construction site. There was a security guard there who basically told us that we can't be here because it is still a construction site, so we have driven up a bit further along the road just to get in some of the views of the surrounding area. But Jay did talk to him and he mentioned that the port is aiming to be finished by March of this year, so March 2024, and there will be boats available to go to Manila. So that's very interesting. That is actually what we're hoping for, to be able to get a cruise or a boat big enough from Siargao straight to Manila. So hopefully we can do some more travelling around via boat, which will be very interesting, very convenient hopefully.
This port was supposed to be finished by October 2023, which is when they won the award. So I'm thinking maybe they had the plan to get it done in time so that they could be more eligible, but they won anyway. And today, in a way, is kind of for us to see how, because for the Philippines to be Asia's best cruise destination, you would expect to see or hear about more cruises, more international cruises, more destinations, more ports, but it doesn't really seem to be the case here. We know that the Philippines has obviously hundreds of ports because it's an island destination, but to be voted the best in Asia means of a certain standard, right? So we wanted to see this brand new port and see if it was kind of being done differently from some of the other ports we've traveled to across the country, because yeah, we've been to a few boats across a few islands now. We know what the standard is like, and it's okay for people who are used to traveling in Asia, but could you imagine like a bunch of Westerners coming from like Norway used to the Western standards coming to some of the ports here? How is the Philippines winning this award?
When we've heard about it, we were like, how has this happened? Because as far as we know, there are no cruises from here. So there are cruises that the destination, they end up in Manila, from Singapore to Manila, and you go via some other Asian countries. I think you stop at Palawan and Boracay. They also have ports that you can have a cruise ship go through. Your destination is Manila, but there aren't any that you can take from Manila or anywhere else in the Philippines to somewhere else.
Yeah, so I guess that's why it's Asia's best cruise destination. But if you live here, taking a cruise ship out of the Philippines isn't really a done thing yet. So maybe that's for the future.
Yeah.
So we understand that it may be just a ports destination thing. So the Siargao port will be one of these when they finished it. So we'll be keeping track of this development and seeing how it affects people who live here like us and what it means for the country. It's brilliant that we can bring in more people, because I mean the islands here are beautiful, and if more people can come in a travel method they find comfortable with, like some people don't like flying, but if they were doing a world cruise from America or Korea or somewhere, ended up somewhere like here, it would bring a lot of money into the country, jobs. So I'm interested to see how this develops, and specifically for us, because that security guard said that they are planning on doing more domestic options. If we can start traveling to Manila and Cebu direct from this island with our dog, it would change everything.
Yeah, that's the key thing. We're hoping, we're not asking for much. We just want a nice cruise ship to take us to Manila that will allow us to bring our dog with us, okay? want much.
It sounds very elitist, doesn't it? We want to travel with our dog.
Yeah, I know.
But I do think that the Philippines will benefit massively from improving its waterways, you know, because it's 7,000 islands. If they're not going to build amazing bridges in the next 10, 15 years, then they can at least sort out the boats and sort out some of the cruise lines and directions and waterways in between the islands. So it just started raining and we've jumped back into the car. And we want to see what appears if we follow this road to its end, because it looks like it may lead back into town a different way. Let's go and have a look.
So it's been predicted that by having these cruise ports built in the Philippines, it will bring in over 100,000 passengers and 50,000 crew per year to the Philippines. So it's a fair amount. However, there was a cruise that came here, was it October?
Yeah, it was around about when the port was supposed to be finished. Yeah,
it actually came from Australia and it turned up in Siargao, but it had nowhere to go. So they should have been ready to receive this passenger cruise, and I think they had to moor off of like Daku Island, I think, and then they kind of ferried people in on smaller bunker boats to the island. I don't think they stayed very long. It's
a very local experience. It's not what I think people would expect from an international cruise, like landing. So, I mean, they didn't even dock in Siargao. They docked in one of the small islands off of Siargao, which was a little bit of a, you know, surprise for us to see in the news.
But the fact that, you know, boats are ready to come here, people want to come here. You know, the airport here is so tiny. It would be good to have another way of having people come to visit Siargao. So I think it is a very good development for the island.
We also think that having the possibility of bigger boats coming will change the living standard for us, because there'll be better vegetables delivered, construction materials delivered over to the island. You can have better boats to bring them over, more stuff. Things could improve massively here.
We're not sure when this road was built, but it obviously isn't getting used, and the nature is kind of reclaiming it, isn't it?
Oh yes, it must have been built a while ago, but maybe obviously they're thinking of finishing the roads first so they can bring the trucks in to finish the building of the port. But then there's no one there really working on the port right now, is there? No. Yeah, we just thought that the security guy said it's going to be open by March, and it's already halfway through January. So, and there was no one there working. All the machines were off. There was no noise of construction. There was no construction workers, just one security guard riding around on his motorbike. So I doubt that it will be finished by March. All right, we thought this road would lead us kind of a secret route to the back of Dapa, but it's actually just come to a stop. We've reached the end of the road. Yeah, I'm not gonna drive in that because there's no one around to help you if you get stuck. We could get stuck, and it is very overgrown. Look at that. So we're turning around and we're going to head back the way that we know. We've just arrived in Dapa, which is the port town here. It's quite busy today. Loads of people out. Is there a fiesta on?
Might be. Look, there's balloons and
this girl looks a bit dressed up, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Loads of tricycles.
Flags in the street, lots of people about. Right, so it was fiesta. That's why Dapa is more busy than normal.
Yeah, it's always busy here to some degree though, because every time we have to leave the islands to do any kind of trips by sea, you've got to come to this town. So it's never dead here, but this is definitely a step up from usual. Today and tomorrow they're running this little party. I have to say, Dapa is not my favourite town on Siargao Island, but it is the entry point for where most people would come in if you arrive by sea, or if you are flying into the island, you're kind of on that side, so you will pass through here eventually. And if you decide to live here, then you're going to end up going there for hardware stores and stuff like that. It's a bit of a commercial economic hub in Siargao, but it doesn't resemble the feels and the vibe that Siargao gives you when you go to the south side of it. which is the parts of the island that we love the most. I do believe that if a lot of international travellers are going to come here, they will probably just pass straight through and go to the other side of the island, where it feels a bit more like a holiday. Back home now, and I seem to remember the last time I was sitting here talking about boats was when we were discussing the new big ships that they've launched from Davao and from Manila, which are supposed to kind of improve inter-island travel here on the island. And unfortunately, we've been tracking their progress over the last few months, and it's not that great a story to tell. They released some new ship lines that were supposed to be like old cruise liners that had been renovated, which should have made island to island travel much more comfortable, especially if you're traveling with a pet. But unfortunately, they haven't quite got their system sorted out yet. So I remember mentioning this last time, going from place to place, buying tickets for the boat, waiting in big long queues, having to go from office to office to office, not being able to make purchases online. All of these little infrastructure problems are what sets the Philippines back a little bit when it comes to international tourism. And I do hope that with all of this investment in bringing cruise liners all the way over to these islands and bringing people from other countries here, they will also work on how they're received when you get into the ports, and how you buy your ticket, how you get your vehicles on and off them. All of that needs improving too. So we'll be tracking this as the Siargao International Port develops over the next few years, and I'm pretty sure you'll see us riding from there one day. We can take Poppy out for a walk. The seas are looking rough. Amihan season is upon us. We're going to go out there now, experience some of that wind.
Let Poppy go.
It is incredibly windy at this time of year. It's so loud, I'm having to shout over the sound of the wind and the sea. Look at the waves as well. And if you look out into the distance, you can see there's like white caps on the top of the water leading all the way out to the horizon. The horizon itself doesn't even look perfectly straight like this, which leads you to think it's not a great time to be out at sea. However, if they're bringing the big boats here, then that would change things, because the big boats can cut through the waves differently. We do see the big cargo ships heading along this coastline pretty much all the time. There's nothing out there now, but as a regular and kind of local to this island now, I don't think I would want to be travelling at this time of year.
No, this is not especially today, it's wild out there. This is not a day you would want to be on a boat of any kind.
Even sometimes when you see the boats docking, they can't dock cleanly because the boat is like going up and down like this, and where you drive your car off of, it's like you've got to time it. So like, make sure it's straight, now go!
Yeah.
We've heard that a few times, haven't we?
Yeah, it's pretty dodgy.
And they're like throwing ropes down along the line where you can drive off of, and I feel like a lot of port development needs to be made still before people come here and do like regular travels on the sea, that is. So from the perspective of people who are living here in the Philippines right now, it doesn't look like the Philippines is the best cruise destination in Asia. But what does it look like from outside, from this perspective? Are you getting, because I know you can cruise from Singapore and you can cruise from America, and that they've got a lot of Hong Kong. They do a lot of like Mediterranean cruises, and there are cruises that go all the way around the world that stop off in Bangkok and Vietnam, and I presume now Manila. But to win such a prestigious award, they must be really ramping things up.
It's so windy.
I feel like I'm just like screaming, I can feel it in my throat. Can
you hear us?
Imagine this out at sea. I'm going to end the video for today looking at these waves crashing against the rocks. Look at those trees blowing in the wind. And the shout out for today goes to Gian Reese, who has been a member for over 7 months now. Huge thank you to Gian for becoming a member and sticking with us all that time. I did notice though, a lot of you guys haven't got any pictures on your thumbnails, on your avatars, so we can't see your faces when we do the shout out. So if you have the time, it would be nice if you guys update your profiles so we can actually see what some of you look like. You know, because like we're reading out these names regularly, and you know, so we're commenting and we're talking to you guys online. We don't know what your faces look like. It's just like a J or something like that, or a cat. I guess it's fine. But it's nice to have an image rather than just like a letter. up to you, but it would be nice for us if we could see that side of things. And we're going to end it. So I hope you enjoy it today, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.